Yeah.
My name's Wayne Andrews. I'm here to talk about 2008 that one of my best mates committed suicide. Uh, it was just kind of something out of the blue, which probably changed us all, really, the way it affected us all. And I mean, I have got over it, but it's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. And I still at that age, when I was like still then taking drugs, but not realizing kind of what I was doing. Do you know what I mean? And again, I wasn't giving myself enough time to think. I don't know if it's because what happened, what he done, sort of like made me take more. But I was still only in my mid-20s. I was still, just still partying, basically, still hitting it hard. And then I think it was about a couple of years after that then, I remember losing my nan, and I remember living with my other best friend at the time, and I remember burying my nan, and we all went back to the wake, and my friend had left. So I rang my friend and I asked him, "Where you to?" He said, "I've come home." I said, "Come back down, yeah?" So he come back down, yeah? So anyway, after my nan's funeral, we both went back home. And I said to him, I gotta get out there. I said, "My head's fucking gone." I said, "I'll give you a text when I get home." He said, "No problem." So I remember texting him. And then the next morning, he rang me and he said, "You coming back home tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll be back home." I said, "I don't know if we're staying up because my family's still down from Portsmouth, and basically I'm working tomorrow, so if I don't come back up to stay tonight, I'll be back up first thing in the morning to get my clothes." So he said, "No problem." And yeah, that was the last time I ever spoke to him, because the following morning when I did wake up, I went up, and I can remember this day as clear as now, because it's another thing I think about as well. Most all the time is I can remember it now, getting up the car was still running, and I went to the door, and it's funny because the night before we was talking about locking the house, such as all the valuables we had in it, and I remember opening the door, and I remember just seeing him there in front of me, and my first reactions were, or what I thought to myself is, how the fucking hell are you sleeping like that? It was only then when I realised that he wasn't sleeping, and yeah, he'd taken his own life, and yeah, I kind of walked in on him, and he was just there. I remember breaking down in the middle of the road. I think this is where then the sort of my mindset or my mental health or whatever it is, I don't want to use the term mental health. I think it's but whatever it was, put me on a downward spiral. So I went completely off the rails probably after that point when that happened. I was probably like, my late 20s. So it was just so bizarre. It was just like, it's something you don't really see every day. I don't want to talk too much about it, but again, if I refer back to what I was saying about dark places, I've never been in a dark place, but I do believe that he was in a dark place, and that's when you're not coming out of a dark place. And it was just like, it's something I'll always remember, basically. And I do think about it. I think not daily, but I do quite think about it quite a lot. But it doesn't sort of like, I don't feel anything from it anymore. It's almost like it's just like a little memory planted in the back, like, do you know what I mean? But from that, again, I started carrying on taking drugs. I was taking drugs. I was still sniffing cocaine. I did meet someone. I kind of stopped, but then no matter what happens, I always found my way back to it again. And I think I realized it was a problem when I started like showing that message from earlier. I think that's when I realized it was a problem, when I'm starting to write things on my phone to say, if anything ever happens to me, do you know what I mean? That's when I know I'm starting to get a problem. But here's the thing. I knew I had a problem. Deep down, I knew I had a problem. But I didn't want to face it, like, do you know what I mean? And before, when I did come out to say I was a cocaine addict, I thought by telling people that makes me okay to do it even more. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? As silly as this sounds, that's what it was like. It was like, I've told everyone now I'm a cocaine addict. So, okay, I'm just going to carry on doing it now because everyone knows I'm a cocaine addict. So I can just sniff more, But honestly, I think your thoughts you have in your own mind, right? I think the human mind, it's probably the most complex, probably most beautiful thing in the universe, but it can be also the most deadliest. And what you feed into your own mind then, yeah. And the stuff I was actually, and I never thought in a million years, I never seen I'm taking my own life and taking my own life. But the thoughts I was just having, like what I mean, it was just like the amount of money I was spending, where I was spending it. I was completely out of control. I was completely out of control. But every week then I would say, right, I'm done now, that's me done. But then by come Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd want to do it again. And before I knew it, I was like probably doing it every other day. And I wasn't just like sniffing a bag or two a year. Like I was literally smashing like, I don't know, 10 to 12 bags every 2 nights, like, do you know what I mean? And I think it was just like that point where, like I say, I woke up that morning and I remember, well, I didn't wake up, so I remember just looking at this canvas and I see my nephew smiling and I was smiling next to him. And with that message on my phone saying I'm not going to be here if I carry on the way I'm doing, I think it was time that, you know what I mean? It's only so much like you can go, I think, like until you get to a point and going, enough's enough, like. And like I was saying, mistake once is a decision. Mistake a couple of times becomes a habit. Mistake multiple times, that becomes your character. They become your personal traits. And that's what it was like. It was just like literally the same mistake. I was going in the same washing machine over and over and over again. The same cycles. And the reality is, I absolutely had enough of it. And it's only one person who's going to put that right, like, I mean. And, you know, it's not your mother, it's not your dad, it's not your sister, it's not you guys. It's only one person who's put that right, like. And that's yourself, like, do you know what I mean? And that is the moment where I've gone, do you know what, like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You're feeling sorry for yourself because you're putting yourself in these positions. You got to grow a set of balls now, and you got to get on with it, like, do you know what I mean? And that's it. That is it, like, do you mean? No one's come to save me. At the end of the day, no one's come to save me at all. And it's like the character, the person I was then, I no longer wanted to be that. I was a Jekyll and Hyde person. I no longer to be that. I am building on something now, I'm not building on something. I've got to a point in my life now where my mind is steady, is stable. It's taken a lot for me to get to that point. I have my off days, but also now I will do anything in my power to protect the peace that I've created for myself. So when I did come out of recovery, like I say, I got into hiking, and I've walked miles across Wales, and has it helped me? Yeah, probably has helped me. Like, but at the end of the day, um, I enjoyed doing it. So I basically started hiking after I came out of therapy. And also, what I did do as well, I set up a group, a hiking group for people who do suffer with addiction and do suffer with their mental health. And I never thought in a million years that it was going to go the way it's going to go. Like, but I have set up a group, and people do come to this group. Like, do you mean? And do I get any validation or any comfort for what people say about me now? Maybe not. Like, but to hear people say, to see how far they've come and what I'm actually doing now for mental health and for people with addiction, and to hear it from people who I've known for a long time as well, like, that does give me a little bit of comfort. But nonetheless, I was the one who put myself in that position. Do you know what I mean? I have got out of it, and like I say, every year I do a challenge where I'll raise a bit of money for the classes I used to go to, because it's all self-supported, so the money will go to them to keep the rent going, etc. So able to utilize the space, the rooms, and all that for the therapy sessions. But no, yeah. So I just started hiking, and it's just I am giving myself probably not enough credit, but I don't look for that anyway. But when I look back now, I mean, like recently I walked 300 miles across my country, like, do you know what I mean? I started south, and it took me 17 days to get to the north. And I used to walk alone, and do you know what? That what I've done by there, and for the people who I've got to know throughout this recovery journey, and through hiking, through my group, the connections I've made, for them to be a part of that has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, one of, if not the best experience of my life. And to look back to see how far I've actually come, like I say, I don't get any validation, or I don't get anything really from people saying you're an inspiration, you're a hero, what you're doing is great. It is nice, those words are nice, it gives you some bit of comfort. But for me, like, I look back now and I think, do you know what, like, I've made it. Do you know what I mean? I've made it. I've gone through shit. Bear in mind, I put myself in that position. Granted, things were happening outside of my life which I didn't have control over. However, the majority of stuff I did have control over. I just let it get the better of me. I didn't take no ownership of it. I was a bit of a coward. I didn't take any responsibility. But it's slightly different now. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like where I sort of thought before my life was over when I come to say I was an addict. I think that's where it really began, because within this 2.5 years and 3 years, I've hiked all over Wales. I've gone to some of the highest peaks in Europe. My brand forever and years, like, you know, it's getting out there. I'm not expecting anything for it, like, do you know what I mean? But I meet people and, you know, they see someone they've never saw before, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, but what's important to me is the people who see me transition from someone who, you know, was completely lost, completely out of his mind, to someone now, like, who's stable, do you know what I mean? And it's just, yeah, I look back, like, I think, do you know what, like, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, but, it's just, like, it's a relief, because the thoughts I used to have, like, or the problems and all that, I still get problems, you know what I mean? But I don't get as many as I used to, and I'm also pretty good now at detaching myself from environments or from people, which I think, you know what, you are okay, you're a nice person, but the reality is it's not for me, like, do you know what I mean? It's not for me. I'm a firm believer of that. You're not given respect. You know, respect is earned. Like, you respect me, I'll respect you. The moment you disrespect me, you know, I'll cut you off. Like, I mean, I haven't got time. It's nothing against you personally. I don't need to go out my way to tell you why I'm cutting you off. I don't need to say, I don't have any closure from people. I don't need any goodbyes from people. I've walked mountains for the last two years by myself. I now walk with other people, but I could easily go back to walking by myself. I have sort of built a character now, which I want to keep. And if it's anyone that I inspire to be, it's the person that I was yesterday that's got me into today. And it's basically the person that gets me from today into tomorrow. And that is it. Like, I've got my round table of people. You are more than welcome to sit at my table. You can. If you don't want to sit at the table, you don't have to sit at my table. But I have met some incredible people along this journey. And it's been a long time since I've said this to anyone. But everyone who has stuck by me from the very beginning, who continues to stick by me, and who has hiked all over Wales, I just want to say thank you. Do you know what I mean? Because you have given me an absolutely incredible recovery journey, and I can only hope what people may see of this, I only hope you can take some hope or comfort from it, that if you are going through a bad time, you know what I mean, if you're having some off days, just remember they're just days. That's all they are, it's just days. So don't give up for one more day. Do you know what I mean? I have been put to the test. I haven't relapsed. I've never relapsed, but I have been put to the test. And funny enough, it was last Saturday. So I was out having a drink last Saturday, and I went to the cubicle, and literally I went in for a shit. And as I looked down the bottom of the floor, there was a bag of cocaine on the bottom of that floor. It had cocaine. It had something in there, because it was a white substance in there. Now, I had a few to drink, and I know as well, if I say this, if I was to tell this story to one of my closest friends, if I had said I seen a bag on the floor, they would have rolled their ears back and gone, for fuck. They would have automatically assumed I was going to go down and sniff that, right? And I don't blame him for that, because that's the person I was. I was mad. I would have done that. What I would have done, I would have picked up that bag, rolled a note, I would have sniffed the contents of that bag. I would probably opened that bag up, I would have licked it, I probably would have stuck it in my mouth, chewed it, spat it back out. I would have done it, not a problem. But I just remember looking at it while I was undoing my belt, and I was thinking, do you know what? If I do this in this toilet here now, no one's ever going to know. No one will ever know. But here's the thing. One person would have known, and that would have been me. And I can assure you now, I would have been absolutely, not suicidal, but probably fucking broken if I'd picked that bag up and done it. Instead, I pulled down my pants, I took a shit, wiped my ass, got back up, and walked out to that cubicle. And I was smiling to myself, because that is a moment where you get tested when you're least expecting it. That's when life will throw you a curveball. That will test you. And that's a perfect moment there where life tested me, but there. And I overcome the test. Do you know what I mean? I overcome that test. And it's just, those are the moments that kind of make you a bit stronger. Those are the moments when you're on your own. You get tested, but all it together, yeah? You come out stronger. And it's like, those are the moments basically that test you. You'll be tested when you least expect it, when you were on your own. So here's the quiet strength that goes on behind the scenes, that keeps us going when nobody else is watching. Those are the moments you take, and they will make you a stronger person. I could have easily picked up that bag, easily, without a shadow of doubt. And there's probably people out there are probably thinking, he's probably fucking picked that bag up. He's probably picked it up. And that's okay. People can think that, because that's what I was like before. But the truth is of it, I didn't pick it up. I walked out there. And is my recovery journey over? No, not a shadow of a doubt it's not, because I can guarantee you now, I do think on times what it'd be like to have one big, massive line for one last. Do you know what I mean? That taste, that feeling. That's all I was going through my head while I was on the floor. But no, I looked at it, like I say, done what I need to do, and got out to there. And yeah, didn't make a song and dance about it. But these are the things you don't tell people about these things. You know what I mean? You don't tell them, but you don't need to tell one. Just give yourself the credit for that. Like, I mean, and it's just like, yeah, life tests you. That was a moment that tested me. I passed the test. Job done. you know, I've got who I need. Like I said, I've got my table of people around it, you know, like, Gene, that's all